this evening. Hopefully what I've prepared will be edifying for each of us, and when I think about lessons, I'll also include myself in this. So this topic is something I definitely need to focus on in my life. Hopefully y'all will get the same benefit. First of all, I'm going to start tonight with a question. The question is, what defiles a man, or what defiles a person? When you look at that, you may think a lot of things. You can think about the worldly setting where there's a show called Dirty Jobs, and you have a lot of these jobs out there that you get pretty dirty at them. One of the jobs, I know a friend of mine who's a plumber, master plumber, and he tells me of stories where he got pretty filthy. But that filth is cleaned off each day, and they have protecting clothing. They clean it off, and that's not really what defiles a person, and that's not what we're discussing tonight. And if you want to, you can turn to Matthew chapter 15. We'll be looking at verse 10, and then also 16 through 20. So when we ask the question, what defiles a man, guess what? Jesus Christ already has the answer for us. He tells us what defiles a man. We'll start in verse 10. When he had called the multitude to himself, he said to them, "Hear and understand. Not what goes into the mouth defiles a man, but what comes out of the mouth, this defiles a man." So what comes out of our mouth is what defiles us. What Jesus is answering is the Pharisees were getting on to Jesus Christ's disciples for not washing their hands, not following the traditions of the elders, and they brought this up to Jesus. And this is Jesus' response. That is not what is going to defile you. What defiles you is what comes out of your mouth. And that's what defiles us today, is what we do. And we'll go into verse 16 now. Verse 16, so Jesus said, "Are you also still without understanding? Do you not yet understand that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and is eliminated?" So he addresses the physical aspect of it. So what goes into your mouth is not the issue. It's taken care of through how our body's designed. So Jesus says that's not what the issue is. He continues with verse 18, "But those things which proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, and they defile a man. For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile a man." So Jesus says it pretty clearly what is true with what the Pharisees are doing with this particular tradition. And also Jesus hits the heart of the matter of what really defiles a person, and it's your heart, and what comes out of that. So that's what really defiles us. And with that list, it starts with evil thoughts. And it's always been what I thought about was when you think about evil thoughts, that's the beginning of everything, right? That's where everything begins. It begins in your mind. Every sin you can think of begins in your mind. Sin just doesn't happen accidentally. You don't trip and fall into sin. It doesn't work that way. Sin occurs when you are tempted and you fall for that temptation and you give in to sin. So at the very beginning of any sin is that thought. So each one of us in here, if I ask the question, I'm not going to do this to y'all, but if I ask this question, who has ever had evil thoughts? This week maybe. You might raise your hand. But what we do is we stop it there, and we realize, hey, this is not the right thought to have. I need to ask for, pray for whatever the case may be, however you need to fix that thought, take care of that thought. Because if you don't take care of those thoughts become action. And this list here is by no means an exhaustive list, but this list that Jesus says is pretty bad. It's a bad list, and all these sins that are mentioned, they all begin with that evil thought. And those evil thoughts can lead to murder. Those evil thoughts can lead to thefts. Evil thoughts can lead to false witness, the whole list. So us as Christians, we need to realize what defiles us. It's not outward appearances where we're trying to put on a show and holding on to things like the Pharisees were doing, like the washing of the hands. It's your heart that we need to protect, and it's your heart that will defile you. So it's very important that we follow that. If you would turn to Matthew chapter 12. We'll be in verse 33 through 37. Matthew chapter 12, 33 through 37. So either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree bad and its fruit bad. For a tree is known by its fruit. Brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things. But I say to you that for every idle word men may speak, they will give account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. So here, once again, we're told our speech, a lot of times, and I'm not going to turn to James chapter 3 tonight, but our speech tells you what's on our heart a lot of times. If you're around someone long enough, they can only put on a show for so long before something slips out of their mouth that tells you what's on their heart. If they got a bad heart, stick around them for a little while. They're going to tell you. They're going to say it by their words. They're not going to mean to. They're still going to try to pull the wool over your eyes. But if you're around long enough, they will let you know what's on their heart. Just like us, we want to make sure that we're that good person that's mentioned here, that good man, that good Christian woman who is bringing forth good fruits. We don't want to be accounted with the bad person, with the bad fruit. And it's as simple as it is here that we just read that Jesus said. It's as simple as good and bad. Life is as simple as good and bad. This world will tell you that there's gray areas. This world will tell you that some bad things are okay, but they're all lies. You have to choose whether you're going to be good or whether you're going to be bad, and make that choice as soon as you can. As soon as you can, you make that choice and live that choice, and your life will be good on this earth and also in the life to come. Because if we do not defile ourselves, we're going to be pleasing to God. If our heart is right with God, we're going to be saved at the end. And that's what's important. That's the choice we have today. That's the choice we have if we have tomorrow. That's the choice we have every day forward that we get to live. Every day it's a choice between good and bad. And you never really have a break. You always have to choose that good path. That's basically all I have prepared this evening. I meant to set my timer, so I don't really know exactly how long I talked. Hopefully it wasn't too long. But that's all I had prepared today. It's like I said, it's very important that we follow God's word and make that choice in our life. And that's going to be the most important choice that you make. It's not what school you go to or the house you buy. It's going to be whether or not you choose to be a Christian. All the other stuff is going to happen, but the most important decision is, hey, you know what? I need to become a Christian. If there's anyone that needs to be baptized, feel free to come up tonight. We'll do that. If there's any other needs that anyone else has that the church can provide, please feel free to come up here and do that at this time as we stand and sing.